The Honourable Taylor Martin.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I'd like to congratulate Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley AOQC on her appointment as Governor of New South Wales, and I rise tonight in reply to her address in this chamber to mark the commencement of the 57th session of Parliament. It is with great pleasure that I speak in this debate as a member of the re-elected Berejiklian government and a member of the Liberal National Coalition that has now been elected to government in this state for the third consecutive time. When I gave my inaugural speech in this chamber 2 years ago, I said that it is clear that today it is the Liberal Party who are on the side of the workers. We are the ones who back those families. Families like mine, we want them to succeed, we want them to contribute, and we want them to thrive. We should be unashamed as Liberals, as Conservatives, to stand up for the values and traditions that made New South Wales and Australia into the place that we know and love today. It is those workers and those families who have entrusted us with our third term. We ask them to join us to get it done, and that's what they have entrusted us with. They looked around at the activity happening around our state and saw that we were getting on with the job and that we had committed to do, and supported us in our commitment to get it done. I'm very proud to be a part of a government that has transformed the state since it was elected in 2011. And we are getting on with the job of building a stronger New South Wales to take the pressure off working families. And we have worked hard to balance the budget, and I can say that New South Wales has no net debt because of that effort. We've created more new jobs than ever before, Mr Deputy President. We are making the investments in the infrastructure and frontline services that our community needs. As the Governor said, the government, prior to the election, set out a plan for New South Wales to lock in the state's strong economy, keep the budget in surplus and help business to continue to create jobs, to take pressure off families by helping ease the cost of living and delivering better services throughout New South Wales, to fix our roads, our transport network, to ease congestion and make it quicker for people to travel around our city and our state, to invest more than ever in health so that every person has high-quality care when they need it the most, and invest more than ever into our schools, as the Minister just outlined, to give all children in New South Wales the best start in life here in New South Wales. Together, we have worked hard to repair the budget and build the strongest economy in the nation. We have no net debt, and we've protected the AAA credit rating of New South Wales. We pledged that 250,000 jobs will be created in New South Wales over the next 4 years, Mr Deputy President, and this government has the credibility to make that commitment, as almost 400,000 jobs have been created in New South Wales since 2015, compared to the pledge of 150,000 that was made at the start of that period. Achieving our commitments is no fluke, Mr Deputy President. It requires unrelenting effort to ensure that New South Wales remains the economic powerhouse of this nation. First and foremost, it's the $89.7 billion to be invested in infrastructure over the next 4 years. It's a very important part of our plan. As someone from a regional area, I can see my community benefiting from the jobs and infrastructure boom across this state. I spoke in this place last year about the government's actions to revitalise the Gosford CBD following the release of the final government architect's report, as well as the CEP, the DCP and the SIC for the Gosford CBD. The government has already committed funding of $52 million for infrastructure and public domain improvements in the Gosford CBD, including upgrades to unseen infrastructure so that any future growth in the region does not put strain on vital systems such as stormwater and sewage drains. The direct result of this funding is the reduction in the special infrastructure contribution down to 3%. We hope this will incentivise development in the Gosford CBD in order to kickstart the activation of the CBD itself, and more importantly, to improve housing supply and affordability in the region. Prior to the election, the government announced that Gosford would be the location for the new Central Coast Education and Employment Precinct, which will be a catalyst for continuing the revitalisation of the city and the region itself. The new Education and Employment Precinct will stimulate the local economy and create more jobs, as well as provide for more choice for locals who are currently forced to travel every single day for work or study away from where they live. This announcement builds on the collaboration with key partners and leverages on our investments already made by both federal and state governments to create further opportunities and drive investment into the region. The Northside Medical Precinct, unveiled earlier this year, is an unbelievable show of confidence in what is happening in Gosford itself. $350 million of private investment in health facilities that the graduates from the Central Coast Medical School will surely all want to work at when they've graduated, instead of having to head to Sydney for work. As a comparison, that is the same $350 million of investment that the state Liberal government had invested into Gosford Public Hospital, which just shows the scale of what is now being proposed off the back of that initial investment. This kind of project demonstrates that the government's revitalisation program has created the right type of environment at the right time to ensure Gosford is on its way to realise its enormous potential, Mr Deputy President. The Liberal candidate for Gosford, Sue Dengate, put it best when she said that Gosford would be the shining gateway that it is supposed to be, and I couldn't agree more. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Sue and the Gosford SEC for their tireless campaign efforts and acknowledge the fact that Sue knocked 5% from Labor's margin in that seat. Earlier this year, the government also announced a suite of pioneering planning measures to help the Darkinjung Local Aboriginal Land Council better utilise its land, which is another goal of the Central Coast Regional Plan that has been achieved. The Darkinjung Delivery Framework brings greater self-determination for the Darkinjung community and encourages better social and economic results from its land holdings. The measures align with the planning system more sympathetically with the Aboriginal Land Rights Act, Mr Deputy President, stimulating improved governance, empowerment, strategic planning and more efficient use of land. The Darkinjung Delivery Framework includes statutory planning measures to enable preparation and strategic plans for land council-owned land that will inform planning and development decision-making. As the largest private landholder on the Central Coast, Darkinjung is an ideal pilot to implement such sweeping planning reform that will benefit the entire Central Coast region and remove unnecessary roadblocks in front of our local land council. This is indeed a momentous agreement, and I acknowledge Minister Roberts for his efforts in seeing it reached. In the Hunter, the Berejiklian government is funding a transformational defence, aviation, aerospace and technology precinct outside of Newcastle Airport. The investment will capitalise on the existing economic strengths of the region, securing 76 hectares of special purpose land committed to defence and aviation-related industry and employment. This funding from the Coalition Government will contribute to the cost of establishing services such as water, sewer, gas, electrical and broadband connections, as well as the construction of a major access road. These are the type of future-proofing projects that the Governor said are expanding New South Wales's diverse economy and are a significant investment in creating the jobs of the future. This government recognises that easing the cost of living will have an enormous impact on many people across New South Wales. This was also a priority for the Liberal candidate for Swansea, Dean Bowman, and I know Dean as an advocate for working families and a voice for common sense in the area. Dean said to me that cost of living was equal as the #1 campaign issue, along with the foul state of Lake Macquarie's bins. From July this year, families will be able to access 2 $100 Active Kids vouchers per child each year. This will mean that parents will have access to a voucher for winter and summer sports. This is in addition to the $100 Creative Kids vouchers to reduce the cost of activities such as drama, theatre, music lessons and coding, Mr Deputy President. From the 1st of July 2019, drivers who spend $15 or more a week on tolls will be eligible for half-price rego. Drivers who spend $25 or more a week on tolls will continue to receive registration free per annum. When it opens from day one, users of NorthConnex will not only be saving travel time, but they will also be eligible for free rego should they meet those thresholds. We also have plans to reduce the weekly cap on Opal cards for commuters down to $50 per week. Currently, you can travel as much as you want on the metro, train, bus, ferry and light rail services within the Opal network, Mr Deputy President, and you never have to pay more than $63.20 a week. The plan to cut this down to $50 per week is going to be a huge benefit for those that commute long distances, especially across the Central Coast and Hunter. Another initiative that will come into effect from the 1st of July this year is the introduction of a $200 rebate aimed at taking cost of living pressure off our seniors. For the first time, around 130,000 self-funded retirees will be able to claim $200 a year to help with their power bills. This rebate will be available to customers who hold a Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare card through the Service New South Wales network and also online, Mr Deputy President. This is on top of our current range of energy rebates, including the $285 low-income household rebate and the $110 gas rebate, which helps pensioners and veterans with their electricity and gas bills. The government is also investing more than ever in our schools to give all children in New South Wales the best start possible in life. We are supporting our schools and teachers so that our children get the best education. I know the Liberal candidate for Charlestown, Jenny Barry, was running because she wanted to see a better future for children in her region. We are providing before and after school care for every primary school student in every public school, Mr Deputy President. We are hiring an extra 4,600 teachers, so children are getting the education and attention that they need. We are upgrading local schools, clearing the entire school maintenance backlog in every public school and delivering air conditioning for classrooms that need it. And we are delivering more mental health specialists in schools to take the pressure off students and combat the impact of cyberbullying. Earlier this year, the Liberal candidate for Lake Macquarie, my friend Lindsay Patterson, and I announced that tenders had gone out for major upgrades of Wonji and Spears Point public schools. These upgrades will deliver improved facilities for students and teachers. The upgrade at Spears Point Public School will include 5 new air-conditioned classrooms, 2 refurbished air-conditioned classrooms, a hall, a canteen and new administration and staff facilities. The upgrade at Wonji Public School includes 6 new air-conditioned classrooms, an admin building, a canteen and a hall. I'm pleased that building works at both schools have now commenced. We have also committed to removing demountables and building new permanent classrooms at Brook Avenue Public School, which is really great news for the students there in the entrance. The government has made significant progress in reducing the school maintenance backlog, which was well over $1 billion when we entered government in 2011. In just over a year's time, this backlog should be at 0. This is an incredible achievement of the government. The government is continuing to fix our hospitals across New South Wales and making healthcare more accessible. We're hiring 5,000 more nurses and midwives and over 1,000 more doctors and health professionals.
I'll be holding you
so you can get the best care you need when you need it most.
Counting every
We're building new and upgraded hospitals across New South Wales, and we're delivering an extra 100 palliative care nurses, and we're delivering an extra 8,000 surgeries for children.
I'll count every single one of them.
I know. I know.
You've got an audience, you don't need to play to them.
I know that the news that the government will invest $780 million redeveloping the John Hunter Hospital in Newcastle was well received in the Hunter. The project will result in a significant expansion of the existing site and incorporate new emergency medicine, cancer care and surgical services. It will also mean a jobs boom for the Hunter by creating more than 7,800 jobs. This is in addition to the $470 million that the New South Wales Government is investing in building the new Maitland Hospital, a state-of-the-art facility to meet the growing health services needs surrounding communities of the Hunter Valley, now and into the future. The new hospital will offer a wider range of services with significantly more beds and treatment spaces. It will include emergency care, chemotherapy chairs, surgical services, critical care, maternity services, paediatric care, cardiac catheterisation, inpatient beds, mental health, rehabilitation services, palliative care and outpatient clinics. The first sod was turned for the project in February with the Liberal candidate for Maitland, Sally Halliday, there marking a significant milestone for this important project. I know the Maitland community is extremely excited about this new hospital. It's been a long time coming and I look forward to it opening early in the next decade. We are also upgrading Wyong Hospital. Progress is occurring there with the plans having been through a public exhibition this March. The redeveloped hospital will be an amazing facility that will feature the latest in technology for the comfort of patients, staff and visitors alike. I know that the Liberal candidate for Wyong, Ying Shu Lee Cantwell, was very excited to tell people about the redevelopment during the election campaign. The hospital redevelopment is significant as it will better serve the existing population and position itself for future population growth. When complete, the redevelopment will deliver an increase in overall service capacity with both the development of a new services building and the refurbishment of some areas of the existing hospital, including a new and enhanced emergency department, intensive care services, medical imaging, paediatric outpatient and short stay unit, to say the least. Additional car parking, increased medical day unit ambulatory service. Mr. President, over the next 4 years, the government will also undertake some major road upgrades that will make it easier and safer for locals in my area to get around. Planning for stage 5 of the Newcastle inner city bypass between Rankin Park and Jesmond has progressed, with the environmental impact statement being approved. The Liberal candidate for Wallsend, Nick Trappett, was especially keen to see this progress, as it would mean less traffic on local roads in the electorate there. The bypass will mean motorists will avoid up to 11 sets of traffic lights and reduce congestion on Lookout Road, Crowder Street and Newcastle Road. It will also provide safe paths for cyclists and pedestrians, as well as providing a direct interchange with John Hunter Hospital. We have commenced work on the next stage of the duplication of the Pacific Highway at Lisarow. More than 30,000 motorists use this road each day and is significantly congested in peak hours. We have committed $387 million to the duplication of the Central Coast Highway between Baddo Bay and Wamberal, which will be a massive relief to the 26,000 motorists who use this road each day. This is a project that the member for Terrigal, Adam Crouch MP, has been working on for some time now, and I know that he was excited to see that funding announced. And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate my friend Adam Crouch on his appointment as Government Whip in the other place. We have also committed $205 million to finish the duplication of the Nelson Bay Road between Anna Bay and Williamtown. That will mean faster journey times for the 25,000 people who use that road each and every day. I know this road upgrade was extremely important to the Liberal candidate for Port Stephens, Jamie Abbott, and the funding commitment is in no small part due to her advocacy, and I'd like to thank the Port Stephens SEC, Jamie and her family for their hard work in the campaign. The Liberals and Nationals in government are investing $1.9 billion over the next 5 years to deliver the Road Safety Plan 2021. This includes $640 million for saving lives on country roads and $180 million for livable and safe urban communities. Specifically, $182 million invested in road upgrades across the state during the next financial year. That includes the delivery of 224 new projects. A significant portion of that $182 million will be spent on safety upgrades at Wilfred Barrett Drive between the entrance north and Nora Head. As Brian Perham, the Liberal candidate for the entrance, highlighted when this project was announced, there have been 7 separate fatal accidents on this stretch of road in the last 9 years alone, which is a frightening statistic to locals. These road upgrades will include intersection upgrades, turning lanes, new wire rope between each lane and W-beam barriers, which should result in lives being saved in the future. Mr President, in the last couple of months, the government has completed some of the large-scale projects that it has been building in the last term of Parliament. The first of these in my area was the Newcastle Light Rail, which was opened on the 17th of February. The Light Rail was one of those projects that attracted criticism from the opposition, but we knew that a significant amount of Novocastrians were looking forward to it beginning operation, knowing that it would transform the city that was previously divided by the railway line. The light rail has now been embraced by Newcastle and is being used quite heavily, well above what was forecast actually, which is excellent. One of the biggest supporters of light rail was Blake Keating, and it was his passion for this project and his desire for Newcastle to benefit from it that was one of the catalysts for him deciding to run as the Newcastle Liberal candidate. The next major project to be completed was the new Western Sydney Stadium at Parramatta. This was another one of those projects that was heavily criticised by those opposite. Despite this, rugby league and football fans eagerly awaited its opening, and the first match last month attracted a near sellout crowd of more than 29,000 people. Reviews of the stadium were outstanding, which is great news for locals and tourists alike. Finally, Mr President, just this week the new Sydney Metro, North West Sydney Metro, has opened, linking North West Sydney to Chatswood. The extension under the city through to Bankstown is already under construction, of course. Yet again, this project was heavily criticised by those opposite, but those people who live nearby and sit in traffic each and every morning, well, they no longer have to, you see, Mr President. They're quietly counting down, they were quietly counting down the months until its opening, and now they're using it each and every day to get into work. They turned out in their tens of thousands to give it a test run, and despite a couple of opening day jitters, the line is operating well and commuters have given it the big tick of approval. I have to ask Mr President, do you see a trend here? Every major infrastructure project that has been opened by this government has been subject to complaint by the opposition. But the silent...
Riddled in controversy.
But the
Lurches
silent
from
majority,
crisis to
the silent
crisis.
majority, perhaps some might even say the quiet Australians, have patiently waited and looked forward to the things that we've been building. I know that the same optimism exists among the community for NorthConnex, WestConnex, the Sydney Light Rail Line and even new stadiums. Together, Mr President, New South Wales is saying, let's get it done.